Right. And obviously, based upon what we just said, we fully understand, and based on all the cases we have now handled year to date, we see that it is not easy to understand or to change the margin to an optimized position because, yeah, organizations are in that sense super dynamic, right? So, and this is also one of the reasons why we see optimization is difficult. The market is dynamic, the organization is dynamic. If we take the market perspective, just let's take the last few years. What we have seen was the aftermath of Corona. We have seen the Houthis in the Red Sea. We have seen a war in Ukraine. Lastly, we saw a tariff circus from the USA. All these different aspects that are running in the market constantly influence the way we have to make decisions within our business and maintain our prices. And these dynamic circumstances bring a true challenge to the operation and forces organization to bring that agility in their process. And yeah, with agility, we mean that the processes also and the way you execute your pricing obviously should be aligned with that, and that is a difficulty organizations have to overcome. Yeah, the second thing that then becomes obviously a thing is that once you dive into these types of models and you want to start using the data, the other barrier to get to an optimization position is how relevant is the data that you have as a business, and how relevant is also your historical data to the execution of the model. And just to give you a few examples, because sometimes we wonder what do we exactly mean with data, right? So there's something next to only transactional data, right? Because maybe we need to register it also in our domain. If we are dealing in a high commodity market, we want to know what were the prices of our competitors during the time that we made that price change. What was the context of the business in that time frame when we made decision A and when we made decision B, and what was there a result of? So all these dynamics that you take into consideration in your historical position is actually data that's valid to understand the number that we use to eventually make a compute. And flagging all your events and your circumstances, etc., becomes more and more relevant in understanding the future, right? So the back and forth position is a broader context than just transactional data. Then the third one is obviously the price elasticity, where we also see that there's a limited scope. Price elasticity not always applicable in all situations. For instance, high commodity, high dependencies on your competition, but also when you have, let's say, a really slow repricing cycle, so you can only your prices are quite static and you are trading large volumes, then you just see that if the orders just come in bulk and it is just one order where you do a lot of quantity, then you see that you lack actually that transactional data. Although the business size can be humongous, it can still drill down to only a few transactions that you see coming by, and with that eventually having, let's say, less statistical proof to eventually run these types of elasticity models. And these are just challenges that we need to overcome as a business. And then the second of the fourth thing, and this is also a little bit in line with what we just discussed in terms of the limitations that you see in price elasticity, and that's the pricing cycle, right? So if you're a B2B business, for instance, and you have a contract with your clients that you can change prices once a year or maybe once per 6 months, then you only have 2 price points, right? So once we do an optimization round and you only have limited possibilities to adjust the price, then that A/B testing can become quite consuming. So we can assess that in a value chain, how close you are to the consumer, how more, let's say, price changes can be pushed to the market to run your A/B test, but how higher up you are in that value chain, how more difficult it eventually becomes. Meaning that each A/B test that you do should be really well thought out, and you really want to generate a test what delivers data and delivers a result that you can use as a feedback input for the next iteration that you are going to make. And with that, obviously, scientific research becomes more important. And the last one that we want to bring in is that product grouping is obviously not simple. A couple of things. Each product is unique in its characteristics. That's by nature one thing. But the other thing is that we see is that once organizations try to utilize elasticity and they see that they don't have enough data on one specific product, they start to group products and then say, okay, based on all the transactions that I make in this product group, I want to have an average elasticity score based upon all the products, and that gives me then the direction what I want to do with the pricing in a specific category, in a specific brand, whatever you have and how you are organized. And the difficulty with that is that eventually you can underestimate the power of the position that you have. So some products it will serve well, but can absolutely be the case that that direction that you eventually choose will harm other products, right? So the maximum potential that you can reach with your business is now not being achieved because you are cluttering data that in some aspects better not be cluttered. I don't say that bundling is absolutely not applicable, but being really secure and knowing about how you want to execute that and which decision you make in that data process is really relevant to eventually get to that optimized price. So that's why this is a aspect that we just want to bring under your attention, because it's also something that we see coming across quite a lot. So with only these 5 mentioned, and there are tons more, but we wanted to bring to you the 5 that we see coming by most often. It means in general, obviously, that with these 5 aspects that we need a different approach. And that approach